Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm going to talk about the topic, do hard things, and that will reduce your stress. So, I go to Western Michigan University, and exams are coming up. Maybe by the time this is posted, exams will be done. But either way, exams are coming up. A lot of people I talk to I ask how they're doing, and they're like, oh, one more week. I'm very stressed out. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm really not that stressed out. I'm trying to figure out why. And I was trying to brainstorm, maybe this would be a good topic to talk about because I think this could really benefit some people. Because I used to get stressed out by school as well and by certain things. But about a year ago, I started learning more and more about this idea of when you do things that are really, really hard, that stress you, that make you really uncomfortable, that actually makes it so that in your day-to-day life, you're less stressed and things don't seem as hard. And I really wanted to talk about this because maybe some people who are taking exams or who are stressed about work or stressed about life, I just wanted to say, there's honestly some tips that seem counterintuitive, but actually can help you quite a lot. And the tips that I would say are getting out of your comfort zone and trying things that really do make you uncomfortable. It's like, there's a nice phrase, if you are not comfortable, then you are growing. And if you are comfortable, then you're not growing. It's just a classic, if you're comfortable, then you're stagnant and there's not going to be much of a growth. But if you're in a position of wow, I'm really not that comfortable in this current moment, this is stressing me out slightly, that actually gives you stress tolerance and it builds you up and it will probably make you less stressed in your day-to-day smaller activities. And I did an episode, I've done a few episodes on this topic of my 4 favorite methods to stress myself purposefully. Those would be cold exposure. I happen to have a cold plunge right in the closet next door. Nate and I will hit that regularly. I do HIIT workouts, high-intensity interval training, row, bike, kettlebell, run, sprint, burpees, pull-ups, just without stopping if possible and just going and going. Another one would be sauna use. Sauna is kind of it's not that hard, but if you push yourself in there, it can be pretty hard. It's a total workout. And then also fasting. There's intermittent fasting, time-restricted eating. I'm seeing some of my Muslim friends do Ramadan fasting, and that's major respect for them. But either way, these activities make it so that you're putting yourself in stressful situation purposefully. It's there's a huge difference in someone putting a gun to your head and you're not in control and you didn't make the choice to be in that situation. That's really going to stress you out to an extreme degree and not in a non-healthy degree. But if you're okay, there's a cold bath in front of me. I don't want to go in, but I'm going in. And when you are making the choice to get into the uncomfortable, stressful situation, you are now going to feel the benefits of this. It's going to give you a sense of accomplishment and adrenaline and sense of, I am a strong person who has stress tolerance. It gives you that sense of accomplishment. And in my opinion, that's what's gotten me through these past few years of school. It's this, okay, this situation's hard, but I know that it's going to be good for me, so I'm going to do it anyway, even though it's going to suck. Boom. It's that's the classic, from what I can tell, a person who does any kind of hard exercise on a regular basis, in my opinion, if I ask them, I'm so do you enjoy that hard exercise? They answer well, I don't really enjoy it when I'm doing it. I kind of do, but the feeling after is what I really like because I put myself in that situation knowing it was going to be hard and I still went through it. And I totally resonate. When I get on that rower and I'm trying to go as hard as I can for 8 minutes, it's 8 minutes on the rower is really, really hard, and I honestly do not like it. But guess what? I go there most days to try to hit the rower and beat my best, rate, my time, my PR, and I'm trying to improve. And it's it's not something that I'm like, wow, I really just feel so comfortable right now. I feel so good. It's like, no, I'm stressed out. I hate this feeling. But at the same time, it's a feeling of like, I'm putting myself in this position and I'm able to overcome it and I'm able to get past it. And that's a feeling that honestly, I'm very addicted to. It's like we get to choose our addictions in life. And in my opinion, I think you should choose addictions that are going to better you and improve your stress tolerance. And I think those methods that I mentioned before are really, really useful ways to do that. And it's like, I feel like it gives you a sense of perspective. Like, if you're doing something hard, like a workout or a cold plunge or fasting or a hard conversation with a friend, if you're doing these on a more regular basis, the things that you used to think were hard are no longer going to be as hard. The small homework assignment where you have to do 25 minutes of desk work is not going to seem that hard compared to your session on the rower that's making you throw up, or the cold plunge that's making you shiver, or the sauna that's making you gasp for air, or the fasting that's making you thirst for food. It's like when you're sitting down to do that desk work, and you're thinking about, oh, I have this desk work, I have this school work to do. It's really not going to be the hardest part of the day. In fact, it's going to be one of the easier parts of the day because it's really not that hard. You just put in a little bit of brain power. You're sitting there. You're not out of breath. You're not that uncomfortable. You're actually pretty comfortable. You're chilling in AC or heat or whatever, and you're in a nice chair and you're doing your homework. And I just want people to realize that, you know, when I ask them, so how are you doing? It's like, I'm so stressed about school. Like, to me, that's them saying to me, school is the hardest thing I do because I don't put myself in that many hard scenarios. Hence why I'm so stressed about school. And I'm like, man, bro, I see an optimistic path out of that. Then that path is do hard things. That's exactly what this episode is. If you're sitting on the couch right now, why not go for a run when you listen to this? It's like, it's not going to be comfortable, but guess what? You're going to feel accomplished, and the stressful things in your life are going to now have a relative like shift. It's like, oh, my chores that I have to do. Oh, I have to do this a little assignment, or my boss wants me to finish this project. No longer are those things going to be as stressful because you have a few other things that are ultimately really stressful that you do on a regular basis, and it gives you that stress tolerance. And I could preach this all day, but I also think that putting yourself in these hard scenarios helps you adapt in life. In life, you're going to have emergencies come up. You're going to have scenarios that you didn't expect to come up that are going to be stressful, technically speaking. But if you have been a person who's put themselves in hard scenarios on a regular basis, these emergencies and stressful, unexpected scenarios are not going to be as traumatic for you. They're going to be something that is stressful, but it's something that you're used to. And that is something that's my goal. If there's an emergency that comes up, I want to be the person that people can count on. I want to be able to adapt and be able to breathe through the stress and to be able to still act in a calm manner. And I think the cold plunge is honestly the best method for this. It's like, out of all scenarios, I think getting in 35-degree water when you really don't want to is probably one of the best ways to stress yourself and control your stress. It's like, when you get in there, you have to truly just focus on your breath and focus on your internal strength. And it's not easy, but in my opinion, that is a great way to set yourself up to be able to be adaptable in hard scenarios that are life and death or are emergencies and etc. And, you know, one thing that I could just pull the historical card on us all, and that is, well, you're stressed right now for school, bro. Seems like you haven't looked into how horrible life used to be any other period of time before this. It's like, if you look back, we haven't had plumbing, heating, cooling, houses to live in that long. It's like people used to be in stressful scenarios all the time, and they used to not live very long because they were in such stressful environments where they could be killed, eaten, exposure to the cold weather. Like, these were things that were normal. Now we live in a modern society where we're safe, we're in bubbles. The most stressful thing to all of us are a little bit of desk work or a little bit of schoolwork, or you got to have a hard conversation with someone. Like, those are some of the more stressful scenarios. But it's like, I don't think a lot of us recognize that, we actually are creatures that have been built to handle all kinds of stress all the time. But we live in these boxes where we're on our phone, and the most stressful thing was seeing a post you didn't agree with. And it's like, that shouldn't be the most stressful thing. If that's the most stressful thing, you're not that adaptable to stress, and I wouldn't trust you in an emergency. And I guess that's just, it's something to think about. It's like when I'm going on the rower, or when I'm on a run, or I'm doing kettle swings, I think about the prison camps of Nazi Germany. I think about the Gulag Archipelago, where they're having to lift up a huge rock with no gloves on, and it's 27 degrees, and you're getting frostbite on your fingers, and you have to push this boulder across this giant snowy field just to push it back. And you live so short, and you get one crumble of bread a day, and then you die of freezing and malnutrition, and you get sick, and you die, and life is hell. And I'm like, to me, that sounds horrible and stressful. I've never had to deal with that. I've never had to. And that gives me a sense of perspective, and it shows me the relative scale of difficulty. If my schoolwork was that challenging, I don't think I could handle it. But schoolwork isn't that challenging. Nothing we do in this society, in this modern age, is that stressful and horrible and terrible. And so I love that. Like, it's like that's why I like to be the person who's like calm and collected and doesn't show my stress levels that often, because it's like, there's no need. I have it under control. When I'm in a project with people at university and they're stressed about the deadline, it's got to get done, I'm like, it will get done. It's really not that hard. We have a few engineers working together. We have the internet. We're blessed to be smart. All we have to do is type. We're going to be okay. And it's like, I like to just flip it on its head. It's like, well, at least we aren't having to work in 97-degree weather on asphalt. Like, people who do that, major respect. That is a stressful, hot job. Most of us students at Western, we get to sit in AC all day and worry about homework. It's like, no. You got to have a little bit of perspective, my friend. And it's kind of funny when there's people that are in my classes who are so stressed, or I run into them in the halls. How are you? Oh, stressed about this or that. And I'm like, in my opinion, school's like the lowest thing on my list of stressors, because it's just not even existent when it comes to stress. When it starting this podcast and talking with people and dealing with criticism and trying to put myself out there and trying to help create a cleaning business that's effective in the Kalamazoo market. It's like, those are things that are more stressful. Dealing with employees, trying to hire or fire, that is a stressful scenario. Dealing with writing a paper, not stressful. It's just not. And I just have to realize that I guess I'm in a different scenario than some, where school is on the list of stressful scenarios. It's just at the bottom. So it's just like, this is just it's just me encouraging, hey, if you do more hard things, your schoolwork or things that you find stressful just won't be hard. Just won't be hard. And I know a lot of people who need to hear this. And then they hear that I cold plunge and they think I'm insane. And I'm like, I am insane, but I'm also insanely interested in becoming a stress adaptable person. I want to be a person who can handle any scenario or many scenarios. And yeah, and I think there's like a balance. Like, I'm typically trying to teeter on the edge of like being uncomfortable, pushing myself into new experiences or learning new things that are stressful or new. But it's like when you do that all the time, learning new things and being on the edge of chaos is actually something that is motivating and kind of exciting. And I'm also a fan of hanging out with my girlfriend, and that's a comfortable scenario sometimes. It's like, wow, you don't always have to be stressing yourself, but like if you're stressing yourself quite a lot in life, you're going to be an adaptable human. And I just wanted to bring this tangent in, which is the impact of social media and screen use on stress levels and anxiety levels. It's like there's been a lot of studies that have come out that show that if you are on social media or on a screen, specifically between like 9 p.m. and like 2 a.m., your levels of stress are just going to be heightened and your quality of sleep is going to be decreased. And because of that decreased sleep quality, you're going to be stressed the next day and your anxiety levels are going to be higher. And it's like, how interesting. All of us talking about how stressed we are and worried we are and busy we are. But in reality, you get home and you get on your screen and you scroll for a while. And it's like, that's kind of the thing that you feel comfortable. But in that feeling of comfort, you're now missing out on great quality sleep. And you're stuck in a fake world where there's FOMO and there's no face-to-face interactions. And it's just, there's been so many studies on how, like, if you spend more time on a screen than in person, you're not going to be as sociable. And scenarios where you have to talk with people, you're going to be more nervous and it's going to be hard. And to be honest, my podcast puts me on my screen a lot. I do a lot of these remote interviews. My goal is to have in-person interviews when I get space for a studio, which may be coming soon, but we'll keep you posted. But either way, I see how being on a screen, connecting with someone, I can connect like 90% of the way there, but not 100. And then that 100% is really useful. And I think so many people, ever since COVID, walking around Western, I guess I have a view of the world and it somewhat through the Western Michigan, and I'm walking down the halls and people are on their phones and they have headphones on, and I try to like acknowledge, like I typically like make eye contact or say hello, and it's like some people hear it and then are like, I'm not acknowledging him back, and I'm like, man, is social interaction that stressful for you? And I'm like, well, if the main thing you do is spend time on a screen alone, I'm sure it would be stressful. And yeah, I guess it's just like there's been times where it's like I'm so stressed out, I just need to take a breather. And taking a breath is insanely helpful as well when it comes to stress. Or it's like I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed. Let's get outside and take my shirt off and get some sun on my face and breathe. And when I do that, wow, I'm feeling amazing in like 6 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. I'm feeling awesome. And I'm like, wow, maybe people don't get outside enough. Maybe people aren't talking with people enough. Maybe people are so attached to their screens that they just, now real life scenarios just seem so stressful, because when you're on your screen, you're kind of in control of your own world. You get to choose who you get to see. You get to choose what you get to look up. You get to choose what you get to watch. When you're walking out in the real world, you aren't in as much control about what's occurring. And that can be stressful, I'm sure. And with the invention of these virtual reality machines, I'm worried that some people are going to think that the fake virtual world is going to be more interesting than the real world, because in the virtual world, they don't have to worry about the fear of rejection or the fear of social anxiety or the fear of really anything, the fear of death. When you're living in a virtual world, you have the ability to live with no consequences, and things are not stressful because they don't have real life repercussions. And it terrifies me that some people will probably fall into that trap. And technology is exponentially increasing, and our human brains are not evolving at the same rate. And I don't know if we're not able to keep up. And yeah, I guess this is just somewhat of a call to action. It's like one of the people in my class last semester was like, Harley, you don't seem that stressed typically. Do you have any ideas on how to decrease my stress levels? And I was like, I'll see you in the sauna at 6 p.m. And they were like, what do you mean? And I'm like, hitting the sauna has been the most life-changing experience for me. It gives me such a sense of peace and relaxation that I was never able to get anywhere else. And the instant I'm out of the sauna, it's not like I have apathy, like, oh, I don't care about school or I don't care about work. It's more like, I have work in school, but that's okay. I'm at peace and I'm chill and it will get done because I know I will get it done. But man, I am relaxed and feeling great. And that kind of feeling, in my opinion, that's like liquid gold. Like, your health is your wealth. And when you're feeling mentally clear, at peace, I think that is one of the more valuable things you can do. And so I'm like, when they're saying, what should I do? I'm like, I'll see you at the sauna at 6 p.m. I'm like, I'm dead serious. Come to the sauna and check it out. And if you don't believe me, listen to anybody talk about the sauna on any pod or research the sauna. Do some research. Oh, the sauna is hot. That's uncomfortable. It's like, yeah, the price you pay to have a clear mind. You got to get a little uncomfortable. And, it's just, I'm going to preach this for a while, but I wanted to make this episode to inspire people. And, there might be some people who will never watch my episode because of this book that I have right there in my back screen. But, that's okay. It's a book that's helped me, and my goal is to help others. And so, yeah, that's kind of my gist right there. If you are in a scenario where you're feeling stressed, go put yourself in an even more stressful scenario, and the results will blow your mind. They will blow your mind. No longer will you be stressed. You're going to feel like, oh, I just climbed this mountain of stress, and now I have this tiny little hill I have to get over. And I just got over it because it was easy. Boom. Perspective will shift on what is stressful in your life, and I think your life quality will improve. And I also think people might respect you more if you're able to handle more stressful scenarios. It's like, if you're a guy, what does a woman find attractive? A woman finds attractive a guy who can be in a scenario and remain calm and collected no matter how stressful the scenario is. It's like, if this woman wants to have kids with you, they're going to want to make sure that you can handle a stressful scenario and not get out of control filled with stress. It's like, that's my goal. My goal is to be able to act in a way that allows me to maintain composure and also help the stress levels of the kids. It's like, that's a goal of mine. It's like, there's going to be stressful scenarios, but if I'm able to keep composure and remain calm and show them how to remain calm, that's a great skill. And I think that's a great skill for anyone who's wanting to get a job. It's like, if you're trying to be a manager, it's like, stressful scenarios are going to come up all the time. It's like, your subordinates are going to come to you with stressful scenarios. It's like, if you're able to keep calm and recognize that this is just a little hill compared to the mountains of stress that you climb on a regular basis, you're going to be able to get through any scenario, in my opinion. And you're going to be on your path to being one of the men that many people look up to, or women. And so I guess that's my recommendation to y'all. Climb these mountains of stress on a regular basis so that the hills of life that are slightly stressful, those will come and you won't be worried about them. You'll ride over them and keep cruising and keep smiling because life is good, especially when you know you're in control. All right, y'all. Have a great one.